Hello, I'm Dan Marr from Hamblett Kerrigan in Nashua, New Hampshire, and I've been practicing law for approximately 36 years in New Hampshire and 28 years in Massachusetts. I'm licensed and practice in both of those states. And while I do both transactional work and litigation, in my litigation experience, I've also had some experience in dealing with victims of crimes and collecting damages in regards to those. I did another vlog in regards to the getting damages from victims of crime, for victims of crime. But now I'm going to focus in on some of the procedures that I do for actually getting those, to track down those assets. Because when you're a victim of crime, you generally have the person that did this crime did an intentional act. It could be anything from embezzlement, like white collar type, what they call white collar crimes. It's equally as offensive as violent crimes, in my mind. Or it could be something like rape or some other thing. Assault, physical assault, maybe they beat you up and you're damaged that way. In those situations, generally they won't have insurance because the insurance companies won't pay for the intentional acts of their insured doing something wrong. There's some exceptions to that, but sometimes under employment practice liability coverage, there might be some exceptions and some other exceptions. But generally, the general rule is when this person's committed a crime against you and you're a victim, you have to go and find their assets. And I'm going to talk about those in regards to this. So one of the things I want to do when I'm dealing with these issues is, outside of dealing with the liability and the damage for you, which is important, I'm dealing with the collection. And I'm trying to figure out that from the very beginning of the case. And if I have a situation where somebody has committed a crime and it's pretty clear that I'm going to be able to prove that in court, I want to get what's called an ex parte attachment. That's a lien on their assets before they get a chance to even know about the lawsuit, and the courts will consider that in New Hampshire and Massachusetts based upon a variety of circumstances, as long as you can provide the clear proof that there's really not much that this person's going to be able to say to dispute this case. So you get it, you go in, and one of the things I will do with real estate is an easier one to try to get. They may have what's called a homestead exemption, and for the homestead exemption, they may have that protection. In New Hampshire, it's $120,000, but there's some ways that you may have an ability to prove in your particular case that the homestead exemption shouldn't apply, and I would discuss that with you if you contact us. But as to bank accounts, if you know of any of the bank accounts, or you know that they generally do banking around here, you might actually do an more of a shotgun approach, where you hit all the local banks and hope that you're going to be getting this. If it's substantial enough, it might be worth the effort to hit all the local banks, but it's pretty tough because of credit unions and all the banks to be able to do that type of broad swath of trying to get liens. It's better to know that they are dealing with some bank and try to go after that bank and maybe a couple of others that you think they might be dealing with. But if you can get liens on those, that's helpful. If you know that they have investments, that's helpful. If there's a way to find out that information from some other sources before you take that action, and I would discuss that with you if I was involved, I want to do it. If there's business dealings that this person has, if this guy has a guy or gal has done some business and they're owed money from somebody else, we can go what's called a trustee process, and we can get whatever money that's owed is held and not paid over to them. And that might be a situation with a contractor or a variety of other people that you might be able to go after. There might be companies that they're doing business in that you might be able to get their equitable interest in the property, in the interest. There's something, or if they're a company that did this, you might be able to go after the person individually because they committed the crime, and it's just because they did it in their company capacity, they're still liable themselves individually, so you'd go after them and the company. But also in a situation where there might be after the fact they change assets, maybe they transfer their house on their lake house to a brother. That's called a fraudulent transfer. Uniform Fraudulent Transfer Act allows you to go and recover that under certain circumstances. I've dealt with that quite a bit. I've represented people in your situations and victims of crimes, and I've also represented banks in trying to collect those money. So I've had a lot, and the FDIC in dealing with it. So I've dealt with this quite a bit, going after these fraudulent transfers. And there's also something called reverse corporate piercing, which I've litigated this case, where somebody actually goes as far as, well, I'm individually liable, so I'm going I'm going to continue operating my business under a new company, and I'm going to maybe have my spouse be the person. I dealt directly with that case, and I did what's called reverse corporate piercing. There's a lot of details in regards to these collections. You want to get somebody, if you're dealing with these cases, that knows how to not only prove liability and damages, but you want to be able to get collection, because in these, when you're a victim of a crime, again, there's generally not insurance in that situation because of the intentional acts by the person that committed the crime, and you want to go after their personal assets and get what you're entitled to. So if you have questions in regards to this, you can contact me both for New Hampshire or Massachusetts matter at Hamblett and Kerrigan at 603-883-5501, Dan Marr, 603-883-5501, or you can contact our website, which is an excellent website. It gives a lot of information, both of blogs and my previous radio shows that I've had. That's at Nashua Law, all one word, .com. That's nashualaw.com. Look forward to the opportunity of working with you if the opportunity so arises. Thank you.